So in the previous video, we added this add to do screen to add new to do for a particular user. Now we will add code to display that to do on this home or dashboard component. So first we'll in the controller backend code we'll add a code to get that to do for a particular user. So let's say inside here we'll add a new route colon id, so we'll provide the id of that user, and here I will add get to do. Let's first create this function. This will be get to do, and we already have owner property. So inside this we already have owner property, title, status, and owner. So we can find a to do by owner, and that owner will come from that params property. So whatever route we have defined, so inside here we have this colon id route. So the route, entire route will be slash api slash to do slash, let's say 123. So this is the id of that particular user. So that id is dynamic, that's why we are saying colon id. So here we can access that dynamic value using request.params.id. So as we are calling this id, we are using it here with the name id. So that's what it's coming from. So now this get to do, you will get all the to dos for that particular owner. So this is all done. Error while getting list of to dos. Now we can export this get to do. Here now we can use get to do. At the top. So now we have this function, we can call it from the dashboard component. So let's go to dashboard. Here I can add use effect hook. When page is loaded, we'll make API call to it. Inside here we'll add that Axios call. We can copy the same from any one of the other pages. So let's say this API call. Here we can say get to dos, async function. Here I can add this. So let's add this in try catch. Here it will be get, and let's import the Axios package. Import Axios from Axios. Now let's also import this space API URL. Space API URL from dot slash utils constants. Space API URL. Now the API URL will be API slash to dos slash that particular ID of that user. So how we will get that ID? So inside app component, we are passing this user info, which contains that ID as we have seen in the previous video. So we can pass this user info to dashboard also. Now we can use this, destructure this user info prop here. In this ID will be $of user info dot user question mark dot underscore id. Now we can just log that data whatever coming. Let me print that error also. So if there is any error, we'll get that displayed. Now we can call this get to dos function. So let's see what happens. So let me open the console. Let me refresh the page. We are getting state is not defined. Yes, so this is a get request. We don't need to pass anything here. Let me refresh again. Now you can see we are getting 4 to dos for that particular logged in user. So we are correctly getting all the to do. Now let's display that information on this dashboard page. So here we'll create a new folder, to do list slash to do list .jsx. This will be new file, and here we'll create to do list.scss. Let's add some boilerplate code. From dashboard we'll pass the information all the to-dos. So now we need to store that to-dos from the API. So let's add that. Here we can say to-dos, set to-dos, and it will be an empty array default by default, and we can set it here, set to-dos to data. Now we can pass this to-dos to this particular to-do list component, and we have imported this to-do list at the top. Now we can say to-dos equal to to-dos. These to-dos now will pass into to-do list. Here we can destructure this, and we'll display these to-dos in a table format. So let's go to React Bootstrap. Here we can search for table. You can see this is a table we can use. So let's copy this up to tbody. Close this table, and we can import this table from React Bootstrap. Let's also add responsive. Now this will be the title. This will be status, and we can also display created date. Let's add also edit and delete button, which we'll do implement later. Delete links. Now inside this, so if you see tbody, we need a tr. So tr and td. So we already have the list of to-dos. So we can use map method to loop through that particular to-do, and we can return a tr. Here we can add first to-do dot title. So whatever to-do we are getting here, if you see, each of these has a title, status, and created at. So we are displaying title. Let's add status. So instead of writing like this, we can also destructure here title, status. So we don't have to always use to do dot. Now title is, this is first is id, so let's add id here. So it will be index plus 1. So map method automatically receives the current value and the index of that particular loop. So we are using index plus 1. So the index will always start with 1. So if you see here, 1 2 3, because by default index is at 0, but we don't want to display 0, so we are adding plus 1 to it. Now we are displaying title, status, now created at. For this we'll format that date. So let's first see how it displays created at, and now let's display these things. So use state is, what is the error here? Use state is not defined dashboard. So let's first fix this. Import created at is not defined. Yes, so we need to destructure created at. Now you can see we are getting this information displayed in progress, not started, and created at date. You can see it's displaying like this. So instead of displaying that, we can display it a nice format. So here we can say new date of created at dot to local date string, and here we can say enus. Now for the options we can specify in different formats. So let's say year will be numeric, month will be long, day will be numeric, hour again numeric, and minute will again be numeric. So this is how you can easily format your date. Now if you check, you can see it's correctly formatted as per the, we are also getting time and date. Now we need this edit and delete icons. For that we can use React icons npm library. So here we first need to install it. So inside client, make sure you are inside client, you need to do npm or yarn add React icons. As I'm using yarn, I'm using yarn. You can use npm install React icons if you want. So now this is installed, we can just start the server with application. Now let's search for edit icon. So we can use this AI fill edit. So to use it, you can just import that from React icons /AI. So the name of that icon starts with AI, so that's why we are importing from AI. Now we can use this particular icon. Now we can use this here as a component, and we can also add delete icon. So let's use this AI fill delete. Now both are from AI, so we can use in the same line. If you are using something different, so instead of AI you are using BI, then you need to write a separate import statement. Now we can use this again in a new TD. If you check now, save this and refresh. You can see now we have this edit and delete icons. Let's increase the size of these icons. So we can provide a size prop here with value of 25. Let's make it 25. It will increase the font size of those icons. You can see. So let's give some class here, icon. So we can make it like a cursor icon. Let's also import. So here we have to-do list.scss. Here we can add, let's add a div, and say class name equal to-do list. Make sure to add one parent class in any of the component, so your CSS will not override with any other component CSS. So whatever CSS we write will go only in to-do list. So whatever CSS we write will not affect any other component. Now inside this we have icon. So I can say icon cursor pointer, and we can import this CSS here. Import dot slash to do list dot scss. So now you can see we see the cursor icon. So now we are successfully able to display this state. Let's add some title also. So in dashboard, before using this, let's add a title. I can say to do list, last name equal to heading, or I can say list of to-dos. And here I will use that to-do list component. To-dos equal to to-dos, and we need one parent wrapper. So you can see list of to-dos. So let's add some CSS here, so we can add for now inline style. You should avoid inline style, but for now I am adding padding of 1 rem. So you can see there is now some space, and let's see how it displays on mobile browser. Let me refresh. We should not have any error. We are missing key, so inside to-do list we need a unique key here. So each to-do has underscore id property, so we can use that as a key. So if I refresh now, we will not have any error, and as we minimize this, you can see it's getting automatically resized and we are successful. So if it goes beyond, you can see there is a scroll bar added. So that's the advantage of adding that responsive prop for that table. So if you go here, you can see we have added responsive, so it automatically adds horizontal scroll bar. This, now let's add some loading. So if you see refresh, you initially see only columns and then the data comes. So let's add some loading indication. Here we'll add a new state, is loading, set is loading, and we can make it false by default. So before making the API call, we'll make it true, and once there is a data, so the API is successful, or even if there is error, we should set that is loading to false. So what we do is we call it set is loading false at two places, but instead of calling this at multiple places, what we can do is we can add a finally block. Finally block will always execute even if it's error or success. So we can move this inside finally block and we can remove it from here. This set is loading false will always execute even if the API is successful or even if there is an error. So now this is loading we can use to display that loading message. So here we are displaying list of to-dos. Here we can add is loading, then display paragraph, loading, add class name of loading, else will display that to-do list component. Now this loading class, let's see how it displays. You can see it's displaying in the left side. Let's do one thing, let's make it true by default and will not make it false. So we can see, you can see now loading is displayed on the left side. So what we can do is here we can add dashboard.scss. Let's import this so we can add some styling /dashboard.scss, and we can move this padding. Let's give, yeah, this heading is we already have. Here let's add class name, parent class of dashboard, because this is a dashboard page. So everything now will go inside dashboard. And inside dashboard we have heading. This heading I can add padding 1 rem, and we also have loading, so we can add loading, text align center, let's make it letter spacing 1 pixel, align items, or you can say text align center. Now you can see it's displaying in the middle. Let's also increase the font size 25 pixel. Yes. Now we can set it again to false and uncomment this line. So if I refresh, you can see loading for some time and then the data is loaded. These are the to-dos of this particular mic user. So we are passing that particular ID. So whenever we go to dashboard component, we are passing that particular ID and we are fetching those to-dos specific for that user. This is just to teach you how you can do this and create different APIs. So if you see in the controllers, we added a separate get to do function controller method to get that particular to do by id. But when you are using jwt token, will not be passing any id manually. It will be automatically taken from that particular jwt token. So that we will see later, but just to show you how you can use this particular way, we are using making api call like this. But later will not be passing any id, only token will be passed, and that will also be stored in http only secure cookie, not local storage. So right now we are storing that particular token in the local storage. So if you go here in the application local storage, you can see logged in user token is stored in the local storage, but in the future videos we'll store in the http only cookie. So that's it for this video. If you found this video useful, do like it and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.